Alright. Hey everyone. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick update on the EOS Blockchain RPG game that I'm currently working on right now. This is a prototype, and I just wanted to do an update. I am in the process of reworking the targeting and movement system so that everything is grid-based, and I can show that off right now. So I can actually show you an example, a base example of the system as far as the redesign is concerned. So you'll notice that now when I click on move, there's a grid that appears. The reason why I have to do this is because I tried my hardest mathematically, mentally, just to kind of piece together exactly how I would go about the math to make the calculations and figure out exactly like where a character is as far as a smart contract is concerned. Graph math is pretty easy. But drawing line traces for visibility checks and shit like this is not going to happen in a smart contract. So I'm sticking strictly to graph math for all the calculations as far as the smart contract is concerned, which means that I need to make sure that everything that's going on in the world is on a graph. So right now, what you're seeing right is me, making placing down movement commands for my party of three characters here. And that's basically it. You just file in the commands like this. It's still very similar to what I was doing before, but in this case now everything is just evenly spaced out, and there's no. I can do all of the hit detection, all of the visibility checks. All of that is just simple graph math now instead of trying to do that more complicated stuff. So that really kind of sets that up. I can still like have more than one movement command, and I can like put those in. Now the next thing I need to do is make it so that things like the attack command actually has like, oh yeah, see the character's actually standing over here as far as this command is concerned, where it actually gives you a chance to, you could see like a whole bunch of red squares if it's like a really big attack. So like you can have one attack that like files up all three, all these squares right here instead and stuff like that. That's the next thing. Other than that, let's see. There was a lot of really interesting things that's come up recently, and I won't go too in depth in this video because I don't really have enough time to do that. But um, one of the design decisions for the game is to do it in such a way where there's no randomization. Doing randomization without a trusted third party is very hard to do. So this game is actually designed without randomization in mind. In fact, how I'm tackling that is I'm only going to use granular and very easily verifiable variables. The thing is that once you have like a certain amount of those, it becomes random enough for most people. In other words, I mean, sure, it's not super random, but it's predictable on to some extent. But there aren't going to be like loot boxes and stuff like that. Most of the stuff in the game is going to be very predictable, and if you know exactly what to look for, you should be able to actually determine. I think that actually goes along the lines of what kind of this is. It's a strategy game, so that doesn't really conflict, actually, in my opinion, as far as any of that's really concerned. So to me, it's fine. Having all the characters kind of run around, and so like so two of the examples of this I can explain for the randomization thing is, you notice that in most games, whenever you attack a monster, like you'll get a number of damage that's between two extremes, and it picks a random. That's really hard to do in a smart contract without a trusted third party. So what I have is stamina and height, right? So if your height is a little bit different on the tile that you're standing on, and if your stamina is down, then the damage will the final value will be affected by those two variables. So you won't always end up with the same number playing out every single time you attack, because your stamina determines your performance, and the target you're attacking stamina as well determines the like the performance of the the amount of damage that's done, how effective the attack actually was. So what you'll end up with is you'll still see different numbers every time you swing and you hit and stuff like that, but it'll be for a reason. It will never be RNG. You know what I mean? So that's actually kind of an interesting prospect, because it's going to force me to actually think about a game like this without RNG. There will be no RNGesus. There is no RNGesus in this world. So, which, RNGesus is pretty important. He's pretty important in most RPGs. So, yeah, but I think it's actually very possible to work without going that route. And in this particular case, like I'm pretty happy like with the ideas that I can come up with so far. You'll notice that the rotation for where the character will face is there, but it needs to be locked at a 90-degree angles. It's still in the works right now. But yeah, like I think that by the end of the month you'll see me running around killing stuff. But now there's one other aspect to this game that I want to talk about, and that is this game, unlike with Revulsion, which is coming out on Monday, by the way. Um, Revulsion is a game that's, is a first-person shooter, and it's designed to be very hardcore, and it's designed to kick your ass. I died 160 times. I'm the developer of the game, and I died 160 times in order to beat the boss at level 50. Mind you, the game gets harder after level 50, all the way up to like level 100. Okay, so that game is not aimed at like an everyone trying to please everyone kind of an audience. Not that I'm ever really going to do that. I mean, this is a crypto RPG turn-based strategy. Obviously, I'm still in a bit of a niche, but one of the things that I actually want to explore with this particular game is to make it feel a little bit more casual in some respects. I mean, it'll obviously still have its hardcore aspects, but one of the things I want you to do is when you sort of like in the vein of like Stardew Valley and stuff like that, where you start off, you have a house, and then you can build a new house, and like a lot of the time you actually will be strategizing, like building out your home and having characters run over and like plant carrots, or you know what I mean, like actually run over and use a shovel on the ground, and then have another character bring carrots over, and you know what I mean, like or wheat or something, like you actually have like a one area where you can actually build and develop this concept, your own home, or a place that belongs to you, and you can personalize. And in addition to that, all the characters that you unlock, like, so when the game first starts out, at the moment, I mean, this is pretty much what's going to be in the prototype anyway. It's not representative of the final game. I don't know how the final game is going to be, but the prototype, you start off with three characters. You're going to start off with a fighter, you're going to start off with a priest, and you're going to have an angler. Now, the angler is a fisherman, right? And if you level up your fisherman, then you'll begin gaining access to unlocking more crafting characters. Characters that can build things, carpenters and botanists and stuff like that. And as you level up those characters, every time you try to do like a crafting recipe, it opens up a battlefield where you have to go into the item. So it's kind of like the item world from Disgaea, but all of the different crafting professions actually involve you going in and doing strategic Disgaea style item world battles, right? That's the current idea. So like there's this whole aspect of where the entire game is just based around like crafting, gathering, and building things up. But you also have like turn-based strategy battlefields where you're bringing your characters in, like your angler. You might be a fisherman, but maybe he has a weapon like a gun or something like that. Maybe you know, but his fishing pole is his off weapon, and it's still like it's a weaponized a gun pole or something. You know what I mean? So there's like this weird culmination where you're going to be building out where your home is, and you'll also be doing strategy battles. So everything, like the entire game, revolves around coming back to doing item world style dungeon type stuff, and then you use those items that you've crafted to build your home, and then maybe expand out and go to different places, maybe visit a city, and then go to another place and maybe take over another place or something like that. And like sort of, so it's that's the idea anyway. So it's like it's a pretty weird mix of a lot of ideas that I don't think have really been combined before. So there's that, and I think I probably went on for a little while. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna end the video now. But yep, this is the update. The next thing I need to do is I need to get the actual ability targeting systems. So when I say attack, I want to have like, you know, 5 different attacks, and one of them is, you know, one of the attacks will make these 3 become the target, right? Like, and then I can rotate it so that it goes to this direction, right? And like maybe 2 or 3 different spells from the priest. Which one is the priest? That's he's a fighter for some reason. Gallant's supposed to be the fit angler. So I go here. Yeah, like Asuna will have like, I think actually Asuna and the other one are and Dispel are probably single target abilities, but there'll be like more powerful versions of those that have like bigger radiuses. I'm not really sure if I want to go totally the Disgaea route where like when you level up using the spell it gives you different formations that you can choose, because if this game includes PvP, I kind of want spells to have an identity in terms of what tiles they actually have. So if somebody looks at a character who's an enemy unit and goes into details and sees all of the moves that that character has, it's a little bit more like playing chess rather than everybody just being a queen, if that makes any sense. So I kind of I want all of the different abilities that your character actually has to have an identity, and that means some of them will have, you know, very specific tile formations, and stuff like that. Okay, so with that said, I'm gonna keep going on this. I want to hear more. I want to hear, you know, thoughts and feedback regarding the, you know, people on the EOS side of things, because this is a blockchain game. This is an RPG. This is the first time I'm seeing a game of this caliber being developed on this kind of platform. And yeah, like I mean, I wanna get what people are talking about, because like most of the games on crypto right now, they're just bet games, collectibles. Like I see people. There's a lot of contention about, you know, in different debates about what, you know, what's going to work in this space. And to me right now, in my personal opinion, this is the genre that best matches the medium. I've said this before, I can't think of anything that matches it better. You know, everything being turn based means that you can wait. If you run out of resources, you can wait a little while. You can see everything whenever you give out commands. You can see a big list of the commands that you want. You know what I mean? Like everything makes sense. It all seems to mesh, in my opinion, for what would make a really interesting game in this space. So I think this is it. Like I can't think of anything. All right, I'm just repeating myself. All right, so anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna end the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Yes, I'll probably do another video tomorrow that goes into more detail. But actually, I think I got a pretty good amount done. I'll see if I can I'll see if I'll just have more to show tomorrow. Honestly. All right, take it easy, guys.